Good evening, everybody on Zoom. Just letting you know, we're waiting for one Board of Appeals member to log on via Zoom for our quorum. He is planning on attending. Hey Jake, this is Jamie, just reminding you we have a Zoom meeting right now. Yep, thank you.
How's the money we're spending around, is that,
So these photos are around number one pond, yes.
wow, ready or something like that?
So number one pond is actually different than the raised grant, so, well, I'm sorry, River Street, which starts next week, which is from the end of Spartan Drive, the old high school boulevard, to the High Street stoplight. That is not part of the raised grant. That is a separate DOT, City of Sanford joint venture. That's starting next week.
Was he gonna tear it up and pave and sidewalks and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then these photos are part of the raised grant, which is the other side of the pond.
That's on the River, not the River Street, but Oscar Emery.
Well, in Oscar, Winter Street, Bridge Street.
Glad they cleaned up all the neighborhood. Sidewalks, curbing, threw me out. What's going on down here at the bottom of the hill? Are they waiting for the rain to stop for a baseball game? The parking lot's full down there.
I don't know that.
And there's no bodies anywhere. Like, where are they? Any chance you could get the public works to come up Windy Ridge Lane and make it Windy Ridge Lane? Bunch of high school students almost ended up in the 2.5 foot deep house. I just wondering what a might be into a quarter of a mile. Water from that one. Love the road. Look at one guy. Rocking 3 feet. For Adam Doty's side, from the first house on the corner, Adams, then, well, Larry and I had 2.5 at least out of our lawn, which has nothing to do with it, except for the
I just logged on, give them 30 seconds to.
Hello.
Your mic on.
Oh, sorry. Jake, are you here?
I am here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for joining via Zoom, Jake. We need you for the 4th for a quorum.
Bridge.
So with that said, I'm going to call the May 24th, 2023 Sanford Board of Appeals meeting to order. And I just need to read briefly how the public can access the meeting if they wish to. This meeting will be conducted in person in the Sanford City Council chambers and via remote video and teleconference pursuant to 1 MRSA, Section 403B 2D, and Section 6 of the Sanford City Council Rules of Procedure, as amended and adopted May 3rd, 2022. Members of the public may join the meeting by phone by dialing 1-929-205-6099 using member ID 8360989-6371 and password 408826 or via computer at https.
Don't bother. You have to read
Come on.
You can say it the link provided on this.
the link.
Okay, the link provided on our agenda for the meeting for tonight. With that said, the first order of business is the continuance of the administrative appeal of Alton Rollingsford LLC to appeal the final notice of violation order to correct issued by the City of Sanford Land Bank Authority on January 5th, 2023 for the property located at 11 Kimball Street in Sanford. Tax map K29, lot 20. So with that, we have our attorney has presented us a letter and suggesting that the parties would like a continuance to the August 9th, 2023 meeting. And so Jamie, or Aaron, would you be able to briefly give us a status of the NOV items for the board, for the record?
At this point, I think Phil, which is the legal counsel representing Aaron, has something prepared.
Okay. Phil?
Yeah, thank you, if you can hear me. And I know we're not getting into the substance tonight, but I thought for purposes of clarifying and sort of simplifying for if we do have to hear this in August, just a status of where we are with the notices. And so you may notice the violations. So you remember the original appeal that was vacated and remanded had 61 violations. After Aaron went through the process, he reissued an NOV, which is the subject of the appeal, and it was at that point 34 violations. As of tonight, it is down to 6 violations. And so in your packet, actually, Aaron, there's a copy of the January NOV, January 5th, 2023 NOV, and he's notated where things are, quote, done, and there are a few additional ones. So I'm just going to read it into the record so that if we do come back, I think it'll be helpful for everyone that we could kind of just focus on those 6 or, maybe, hopefully maybe there's less, but just for these purposes, so you wouldn't have to go over any other of the other ones. So number 1, it's on what's labeled page 2 of that January 5th NOV, and that's a violation of section 304.1 general exterior of the IPMC. The second is on the next page, page 3. There are 3 violations on that page, and all 3 are still outstanding, according to the code officer. So that's the first one is the IMPC 305.1.1.5, 304.10, and 305.4. So those are all 3 on that page. Turning the page to page 4, the first violation is still outstanding. That is section 304.2 of the IMPC. And then finally, the next page, which is page 7, is the violation on the very bottom of that page called exterior basement. And that's a violation of alleged violation of 128-25-A-2 and NFPA 101. So Aaron, I think, is that consistent with what your records show?
That is correct.
Okay. So I just wanted to get that on the record. So if we do come back in August, then it can be sort of focused to those or fewer. And then finally, I would say, and I know Jim wrote this in his note to us, and likely it's probably the same note to you, that of those remaining violations, Aaron has written a note right on there that says compliance extended to 7/31/23. So that's one of the purposes, I believe, of this continuance. And Greg can speak for himself, but that they're still working with the city, and Aaron did give that additional time. So it does seem to make sense to put this on pause for the moment, see if they get our compliance, and then. But we do, from the code perspective, we do strongly suggest that it's at a date certain. So August, and I think Jim may have suggested that, a date certain, that we'll either hear the appeal or it will have been dismissed or withdrawn at some point. But some sort of closure to this is, I think, important. So that's it. I'm not going to get into substance this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are we able to ask questions before we make a motion, or should we direct those at our attorney, or?
Certainly, you're free to ask questions. Maybe Attorney McCullough wants to briefly make or reply to the comments, but the idea is to not get into the merits, but just talk about the process here for tonight, as I understand it.
Yeah, I can do that. I concur with what Phil has said in terms of the that there being, I guess, 6 alleged violations at this point. The other ones have all been resolved by remediation, and it's fully expected that the 6 that are talked about or that have been mentioned will also be resolved and fully remediated by the July 31st deadline.
Thank you. If there are questions from the board, this would be a great time to ask them.
Procedurally, if, let's say, someone has a life and decides to go away on August 9th, and they are one of the 4 individuals sitting here, are they still eligible to, are others that are not here eligible to fill the role of the zoning board? And just looking at, we're not hearing a whole lot tonight, obviously.
That's correct.
So,
and there were others who were here for the prior one. I think that if there had to be a hearing on the remaining 6, then evidence would come in that evening, whether it were August 9 or whatever, and we could certainly deal with it then with whomever is available, so long as there's a quorum.
okay.
Yeah, because we haven't actually had a hearing. What they're saying is we haven't actually had a hearing, so the 30 days hasn't started running.
So this is officially a new appeal versus the past fun that we had?
Yeah, that's one way. I think that's one fair way of looking at it. We all agree?
I think that's right.
Okay, great. And within, and I don't know if this is substantive, Jim, please tell me to be quiet, and I'll be happy to do that. Okay. My wife would thank you for that, or whatever, but in this packet that I have spent some time reviewing, there appears to be a notice that says the building should be vacant. Is that the case, and is that something that is pertinent to this?
That's a separate proceeding. As I understand it, with regard to any condemnation or vacation of the building, that's all court proceedings or separate track and not for this board.
I agree.
That's correct. Yeah, that's actually before the Superior Court right now. And it's been put off really for the same reason that your work has been put off. This, no sense in spinning our wheels if it's going to be moot here very soon, and it will be.
Okay. I just enjoyed my evenings of reading and educating myself, and I'm really going to be thrilled to know that August 9th, all of those things will come back.
You can brush up on the notes.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate everyone's time coming here tonight and attending via Zoom. Our attorney has proposed a motion on, and I'll read it. I'll propose the motion. And if I can have a second, with the agreement of legal counsel for the appellant and for the city code enforcement officer to allow time for compliance with the remaining items cited in January 5, 2023 notice of violation. And because there has been no final hearing on the appeal, the Board of Appeals moves to continue this appeal to the August 9th, 2023 meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, I will call a roll call vote. Jake?
Yes.
Thank you. Paul?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jane? Yes. Motion passes 4-0.
Very good.
was-
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You're
I
welcome.
was looking forward to working with Attorney McCullough and enjoying this evening, but okay.
Maybe another day.
So, Jamie, is there any other business for us, or?
We did not prepare any other matters with anticipation that this was going to be heard tonight. We knew it was probably going to be a lengthy hearing and didn't want to clutter it down with administrative stuff, so nothing
Okay.
else has been prepared.
Do we have any other cases coming before us?
We do not.
Okay, great. Motion to adjourn. Adjourn. I'll second that.
Okay, wonderful.
And-
Okay, roll call vote. Jake? Jake?
Yes.
Yes.
Attaboy.
Mark?
Yes. Yes.
Paul, yes. Jane, yes. Motion passes 4-0. Our meeting is now adjourned.
Good night, all.
Usually-